The message, as Dave shared so beautifully this morning, listen, God is talking. Ernest Holmes wrote a book, Can We Talk to God? And you know what the answer is? Hello? Who is this? God? You mean the God? No, I don't know anyone else with that name. My gosh, I can't believe you're calling on a Sunday morning during service. Oh, it's because you can't get a hold of anyone else during the week. I got it. You get the busy signal. Yes, we are busy. In fact, our practitioner this morning, Dave, talked about our busyness. We are busy, but we still, yes, many of us feel lonely. Many of us feel disconnected, yeah. You're always there? Well, I'm sorry we hang up on you. I'm sorry you get a busy signal. Oh my gosh. What do? We've lost. Yeah, we've lost it. We've lost that sense of that internal wireless connection you have with each of us and that we should have with each other. But I know another reason you're calling on a Sunday morning. It's that the long-distance calls are cheaper on the weekend, right? I get it. This isn't a long-distance call? You don't mean you're calling collect, do you? It's a local call. Oh. We've lost the sense of knowing that you're right in our neighborhood, in our home, and in our hearts. Wow. We have some work to do. We do. Oh, and we don't always need to call you because you speak to us in other ways, in our spiritual reading, in our prayers, through nature, through each other. Oh my goodness. And this is a universal plan, meaning you're speaking to everybody all at once at the same time. Our whole global human society, you're speaking to all of us. Oh my gosh. And if we call, you always have an answer if we listen. Oh God, thank you for calling. I'll be sure to remind the community of what you've said. God bless you. Bless yourself. And we'll talk soon. That was fun. I like talking to God first thing in the morning. When you're all here, it makes a difference, huh? It's interesting, though, because, holding that phone, how many of you love the feeling of the phone in your hand? It gives you security, right? What happens when you lose your phone? Can't find it. What if you only have one bar or no bars? Oh my gosh, or interference. You get upset, don't you? Do we have that same kind of connection with Spirit? You don't have to lose Spirit. Spirit's always with us. We just forget. We don't train our mind and heart to be open to that divinity, that divine mind, that knowing that's always with us. And I will blame a little bit on God too, because we've been given that thing called free will. So we can choose to use as much of that power of this divinity that's within us and around us and through us as we want, or as little as we want. It's our choice. So if you're not hearing the message that Spirit has, we can't blame God. We can't blame the divine mind. We have to do our part to open to what's already there. We also have to learn, it's a little bit different. That voice within us, the little small voice, Dave, you mentioned that little small voice, doesn't speak as loud as the chaotic world out there. The external problems, aren't they loud? How often do we plug into them because they're getting our attention instead of doing the work it takes to tune into that quiet, still small voice that's always quiet, that's always affirmative, that is never chaotic? Some of us have gotten a little bit addicted to the chaos and the problems. And when it's peaceful, we have to really train ourselves to know how to be peaceful people in a chaotic world. Now, we understand for sure that this whole human experience can be messy and difficult and hard, and it can be beautiful and joyous and loving and meaningful. It's the whole thing, the whole spectrum here, because we're the students, we're the learners, and we all learn in different ways, and each single experience has something to teach us. We need to remember and learn that it's different when we talk to God. It's a feeling that comes into the heart. It's a heart feeling. That's the creative power. So often we think our creative power is in our mind, right? Well, our intellect, we love it. We love our intelligence. But that gives form to this inspiration that comes from the heart. Rumi said, "The entrance to the sanctuary is within you." The Bible has told us that God has built its temple inside of us. So that's where it is. Rumi goes on to say, hey, close that language door and open the love window. It's much better there. The heart is the translator between the mystical experience and intelligence. Now, when you get those flashes of intuition, that feeling that moves into a thought, that intuition, that's God speaking. It's always affirmative, as I said. You can tell because it's never, oh, those people don't like you. Oh, that's a bad thing. No, that's not right. When we get that feeling, there's a better choice, there's something I need to do, or, that's good. Yeah, those are the things, those are the messages from Spirit that are meant for us. So that's a good thing to know. First test in learning how to be trained to listen to the voice of God. Where are you going to listen for it? Just show me. Right here. That's where we listen, right here. And then I love this because so often we think, well, if God speaks, it's going to tell me just what to do. No. Divine mind does not have a blueprint. God, it would have to be a gigantic blueprint for everybody's life in the world, but it doesn't have a blueprint for our lives. When we say, oh, there's a divine plan, the divine plan means the possibility that we each hold. Thank you. That we each hold like the rose. The divine plan in us is the possibility. There's many different things for us. There's just not one right thing. It's the possibility that we get to nurture and grow. That's our individuality and our choice to do something. We have that power right now in us, that we can use it. We have to feel it and sense it. Now, Jesus would go out to the desert for 40 days to get into that place, to get in touch with that still small voice. Because often when we take the time to get silent, what pops up? Chatter, everything that's wrong, all the things that aren't good. You can't go into meditation in your silent place for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in the morning, and then the rest of the day talk about everything that's wrong. That doesn't work for us. We have to spend our life that we are letting in the voice of Spirit. We become a walking prayer. That what we do is remembering. We haven't been given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. When Rumi said, close the language door, we need to listen. We need to look, because we need to start tapping into right knowing. Right knowing is the truth. And Bill, when you opened our circle today, it was so beautiful. Because you tapped into, we were standing in a circle, holding hands, connecting hearts, and listening for the truth that connects us all. We are one. There's only one. We have a whole beautiful spectrum of lives on this planet, a whole wonderful spectrum, each being connected to the divine, each having a spark of goodness in them, each having availability to something more. Every one of us, all the different kinds, the different shades, the different religions, the different cultures, we all have that same energy and purpose and feeling in us, but we have to tap into it and weed out the stuff that's not working, that keeps us separate. So when we go to that silent place and building that pathway, it's about feeling what's right and true, however you sense it. Because spirit, divine mind, God speaks in a universal language. It's much more subtle. It's not as, as the human language. It's much more subtle. It's something we feel and sense. You can feel it because it's warm. And when I talk about the God bumps, it's because I feel that sense and that presence. Feeling love, that's the same feeling when Spirit is speaking to us. And it's available for us always. We don't have to wait, but we have to train our minds to be listening tools, to be available. You know, Kabir said, I felt the need for a great pilgrimage. We don't need to take 40 days. He said, I felt the need for a great pilgrimage. So I sat for 3 days, and then God came to me. Kabir was a 15th century Indian saint and poet. And he was also the one who said, when a fish in water is thirsty, it is in serious need of professional counseling. And isn't that true for us? We're sitting in this energy, this potentiality, this creative experience of life, and we see the difficult outpicturing, the external world, and we plug into that instead of remembering we can find something more inside of us. Something deeper, something more beautiful, something wonderful is inside of us. When we know that, right knowing, which is when we connect with what is true and right and good, means right action. And Dave, when you were talking about action this morning, I was thinking, we've got to tap into that wisdom within us because, we're a community that knows the power of right thinking, of oneness, thinking of oneness and unity and openness and connection. And that right thinking leads us into being people that bring people together in the world. We've been given the tools to use, to have a life, oh my gosh, we've been given the tools. Every one of us, no matter what our external experiences are, to have a life that is meaningful. We aren't all meant to do big, gigantic things, but as Mother Teresa said, doing small things with great love is the most meaningful thing in the world. We can have a life that's meaningful and a love that fills us up no matter what. And when we tap into that place and hear and feel the sense of spirit, we feel free. When we think of the people on our wall here, all of them have had, chaotic, tumultuous lives that have led them to something greater because they knew how to tap into a source that was unlimited, wireless and unlimited. They didn't need to have any plug to plug into, but it's there always. Now, when our consciousness will expand, we become lighter, brighter. It's like plugging into a light that wakes us up, shakes us awake into something more. Ernest Holmes says, as we sit in the silence of our own soul, as we sit there in the silence and think, just, if you imagine right now, if you were going to sit somewhere, anywhere in the world, that could bring you that peace of sitting in the silence of your own soul and just listening. As we sit in the silence of our own soul and listen, we enter into the universal consciousness, and it will be the greatest thing we ever do. In that universal consciousness, there's no separation, no chaos, no problem. In that universal consciousness is just the light of connection, the light of knowing we're one with God and one with each other. The thing I didn't tell you that God told me, because I wanted to save it to the end, was that when Spirit speaks, we can hear it through each other. That's what we do in community. That's why we're here. When we're up, we can share that upness with each other, that affirmative feeling with each other, the vibration of that. And when we're down, we can be supported by the people who are here with us too. So I want to close today with another quote by Ernest Holm, and then I want to pray together this morning as we open ourselves to that goodness that's already here. So here's a quote by Ernest. He says, when God speaks when we listen. God is there when we open the door. When we listen, there is a response from something greater than ourselves, the limitless possibility. God speaks whenever, wherever, and we listen to our inner voice. So let's take this time and just join together as we open ourselves by just unraveling ourselves, putting our feet on the floor, opening our hearts right here in this moment. As we breathe in and know that Spirit is as close as our breath. Spirit is as close as our breath and beats in our heart. And as we breathe, we feel the life and love of Spirit's goodness, the love of God working in us right now to heal anything that feels off or out of balance from the beautiful flow of livingness, aliveness, joy, possibility, that we open to that now by simply opening and clearing that path between our head and our heart, that we may be more present, more awake, more aware in this beautiful experience that we call life. Knowing that life is another word for God, and we are here as the vessel and vehicle for God and its new creations, its new expressions, that we have that ability to be the hands and the heart of Spirit. And as we place that one hand just in the mind of God and let that energy pass through our heart and reach out, we know and we touch the hand and heart of others that we're doing Spirit's work, that we're doing the work of love, of light, of goodness, and we're certainly making this world together a more beautiful place. We don't have to just reach out and touch those that are right in front of us, because remember, this energy, this light is infinite, it's eternal, it's expansive, it doesn't know time nor space. It can reach out to those that have passed and those that are yet to come, those all around the world, that we are here together in this experience of life, that we may grow and learn and enter into the divine, universal consciousness of love and acceptance and peace. It is together that we can do this work in joy and in light and in fun and in peace and in goodness, because this light tells us as we open to it that life is good, and so are we. As we breathe that in, as we accept it and share it and let it flow, we just release it right now and feel it expanding around this beautiful world in which we live. We feel blessed, and we know that we are a blessing as we share this light, this love, this goodness. We accept it as true and very true that we are here together to grow in light and love, and so it is. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you.